I never imagined a simple coffee meetup with old friends could unravel so fast. But there we were, sitting in a corner booth of our favorite café, tension practically crackling in the air. The smell of freshly brewed espresso filled the room, but it did little to soothe the growing unease between us. It started innocently enough, catching up on life, sharing laughs over memories from years ago. I was eager to hear how things had been for them since we last met, but beneath the surface, something was simmering that none of us wanted to acknowledge. The first sign was subtle, a glance exchanged between them when I wasn't paying attention. A look that spoke volumes, jealousy, maybe even resentment. I tried to brush it off, convincing myself I was just reading too much into it, but deep down I felt it. As the conversation flowed, the atmosphere shifted. Innocent remarks took on sharper edges. I caught the slight tightening of jaws, the narrowing of eyes, and the way the smiles no longer reached their eyes. Something was wrong, and I was about to find out what. Suddenly, the man leaned forward, voice low but intense, asking about a recent accomplishment of mine that I had proudly shared just moments before. The way he phrased his question felt more like a challenge than curiosity, and the woman beside him shot me a look that made my stomach twist. I tried to respond calmly, but the air was thick with unspoken tension. It was as if every word I said was being dissected and judged. The friendly gathering I'd hoped for was dissolving before my eyes into something far more complicated. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. The woman suddenly cut in, her voice sharp, accusing me of something I hadn't even realized was an issue. Jealousy poured from her words like a tidal wave, and the cafe seemed to close in around us, the background chatter fading to a dull murmur. I felt my heart race, a mix of confusion and hurt flooding through me. How had we gotten here? I searched their faces for the friends I knew, but all I saw were strangers fueled by jealousy and misunderstanding. The man's expression hardened as he chimed in, supporting her accusations with his own pointed remarks. What was meant to be a reunion had turned into a confrontation, and I was caught in the crossfire, struggling to find footing on unstable ground. I clenched my fists beneath the table, trying to steady my voice as I defended myself, but their eyes held a storm that threatened to overwhelm me. Every word felt like it fanned the flames rather than put them out. The noise from nearby tables grew louder as onlookers sensed the rising tension. I could feel their gazes, the weight of silent judgment or curiosity, making the moment even more unbearable. Trying to break the cycle, I suggested we take a moment, maybe step outside for some fresh air. But the offer only seemed to escalate things, as if my attempt to calm the situation was seen as weakness or guilt. The blonde woman's eyes flashed with anger as she accused me of hiding things, of pretending to be someone I was. It was like a veil had been lifted, revealing cracks I hadn't noticed in our friendships before. I could feel the sting of betrayal in their words, even though they weren't directly aimed at me. It was the jealousy between them, and somehow I was caught in the middle, a pawn in a game I never asked to play. Every attempt I made to explain myself only seemed to dig a deeper hole. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, caught in a whirlwind of accusations I couldn't fully understand. The cafe owner glanced our way nervously, discreetly approaching with a nervous smile, subtly suggesting it might be best to settle things outside. But even moving locations wouldn't fix the damage done. Outside, the crisp air hit my face, but it didn't clear the fog of hurt and confusion swirling inside me. The street was busy, but all I could focus on was the sharp exchange between my friends. The man's voice dropped to a harsh whisper, laced with resentment that surprised me. He accused me of stealing attention, of making them feel small, and it stung deeper than I expected. The blonde woman stood rigid, arms crossed, eyes locked on me with a mixture of disappointment and anger. The warmth I remembered from our past was gone, replaced by something cold and unforgiving. I tried to remind them of the good times, the laughter we shared, the support we gave each other. But it was like speaking another language. My words bounced off a wall of suspicion and jealousy. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about me. There were wounds between them that I hadn't seen, battles fought in silence that were now erupting in my presence. I felt helpless, caught in the middle of a storm I didn't cause but couldn't escape. The old friends I trusted seemed like strangers, and the future of our relationships felt uncertain. As tensions flared, a sudden outburst caught me off guard. The blonde woman accused the man of being unfair, of hiding his own jealousy behind a mask of support. The raw honesty in her voice shocked me. Their argument spiraled quickly, voices rising, footsteps pacing. I stood frozen, watching years of friendship unravel in front of me, unsure if I could do anything to stop it. The crowd nearby grew silent, eyes darting between us, sensing the drama reaching a breaking point. The cafe's cozy ambience seemed miles away from the chaos we had become. I reached out, voice trembling, trying to calm them, but my words were drowned by the storm of emotions. They were too deep in pain and jealousy to hear reason. Suddenly, the man turned on me, accusing me of taking sides, of fueling the conflict. It felt like a betrayal, but I couldn't deny the truth in his words. I was caught in the middle, unsure where to stand. The blonde woman's eyes filled with tears, but anger still burned bright. She blamed me for not seeing the tension between them sooner, for not stopping the jealousy before it exploded. I swallowed hard, the weight of their accusations pressing down on me. I wanted to fix this, to mend the broken ties, but the path forward was hazy and uncertain. The cool evening breeze offered little comfort as we stood there, three fractured friends caught in the aftermath of a meeting that went horribly wrong. I glanced down at the smartphone face down on the table inside the cafe, a silent witness to the unraveling of friendships and the unleashed jealousy that none of us expected. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with unsaid words and lingering pain, as we each grappled with the reality of what had just unfolded. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, knowing that what happened today was a turning point, one that would change everything between us, for better or worse. But even as the night deepened, the questions remained unanswered. Could we ever go back to how things were, or was this the beginning of a new, uncertain chapter? The streetlights flickered overhead, casting long shadows as we stood there, caught between past memories and an unknown future, the sting of jealousy still fresh and raw. In the end, I realized that some meetings aren't just about catching up. They're about confronting truths we've been avoiding, whether we're ready or not. And as I walked away from the cafe that night, the echoes of that meeting lingered, a reminder that beneath the surface of friendship can lie storms waiting to be unleashed. I still don't know where we go from here, but one thing is clear: things will never be the same again. The weight of jealousy, once hidden, now hovered between us like a shadow, shaping every glance and every word in ways we hadn't imagined before. I caught myself replaying the conversation in my head, each moment more painful than the last, wondering if there was anything I could have done differently. But some things aren't about blame. They're about feelings that have been buried too long, finally erupting when least expected. The irony is that I had invited this meeting to reconnect, to heal old wounds, but instead, it felt like we'd torn them open wide. I looked back one last time at the cafe, the warm lights glowing softly inside, a stark contrast to the cold reality we now faced. It's strange how a place that once symbolized friendship and laughter can become the backdrop for heartbreak and conflict. I'm left wondering if time will ease this pain, or if some rifts are simply too deep to mend. As I walked through the quiet streets, the night air felt heavy with unspoken apologies and unresolved feelings. The city around me carried on, oblivious to the small drama that had played out in a cozy corner of a little café. Sometimes it's the moments we share in close quarters that reveal the biggest truths about ourselves and those we care about. I don't have the answers yet, but I know this meeting changed everything, and the road ahead will be anything but easy. All I can do now is hold on to hope that maybe, with time, the jealousy will fade and understanding will grow. But for tonight, I'm left with the raw sting of a friendship tested and a meeting that went terribly wrong. I can still feel the heat of their gazes, the sharpness of their words, and the heavy silence that followed like a storm's aftermath. It's a strange kind of pain, knowing that those closest to you can hurt you in ways no one else ever could. Yet amidst the hurt, I can't help but remember the good times, the laughter, the support, the bond we once shared. Maybe that's why the pain feels so deep, because it's not just about today, but about everything that came before. I'm left wondering if the jealousy was always there, lurking beneath the surface, waiting for a moment to break free. Or if it was something new, sparked by changes none of us were ready to face. Whatever the cause, the effect was undeniable, a friendship fractured, and a meeting that turned into a battlefield. I find myself searching for answers, hoping for a chance to make things right, but unsure if that chance will come. The memory of their faces, the hurt in their eyes, lingers with me like a shadow I can't shake. I have to wonder if they're feeling the same mix of regret and pain, or if they've already moved on. That question haunts me most of all, because it's the uncertainty that makes the wound fresh and raw. I think about the future, about whether this is the end of our story or just a difficult chapter in a longer journey. Friendships aren't always easy, especially when jealousy and misunderstandings come into play. But sometimes, the hardest moments teach us the most about ourselves and the people we care about. I don't have the courage to face them again just yet, not until I've sorted through the tangled emotions inside me. For now, I'm left with the echoes of a meeting that went wrong, a reminder that even the closest bonds can be fragile. I hope that one day, we can look back on this moment with clarity and maybe even forgiveness. Until then, I carry the weight of what happened, a lesson in how jealousy can quietly unravel everything we hold dear. And as I close this chapter, I know the story isn't over. It's just taken a turn none of us expected. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The scars of this meeting will shape us in ways we're only beginning to understand. I wonder if they feel the same way, if the jealousy that exploded between them is something we can ever truly overcome. For now, I walk away with a heavy heart, the memory of that afternoon etched deep into my mind. It's a story I never planned to be part of, but one I can't escape, because it's about friendship, betrayal, and the messy reality of human emotions. And sometimes, those stories don't have neat endings. They just keep unfolding, one painful moment at a time. So here I am, sharing this with you, hoping that maybe someone will understand what it's like to watch jealousy tear apart something precious. Because in that cafe, surrounded by the hum of life, I learned that even the strongest bonds can be tested in ways we never expect. And that sometimes, the hardest meetings are the ones that change everything. I'm still trying to make sense of it all, piecing together what went wrong and why it hurt so much. It's a process, and I'm not sure how long it will take or if the wounds will ever fully heal. But for now, I carry the story with me, a reminder that jealousy unleashed can be a force impossible to ignore. And that sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones who can hurt us the deepest. The meeting that went wrong wasn't just a moment, it was a turning point that will shape our lives in ways none of us expected. And as the days pass, I find myself wondering, will we find our way back to friendship, or are some things broken beyond repair? Only time will tell, but for now, the memory lingers, a cautionary tale of jealousy, pain, and the fragility of trust. And as I write this, I realize that sometimes the hardest stories are the ones we have to live through before we can truly understand them. So I'll keep moving forward, carrying the lessons and the scars, hoping that someday there will be healing on the other side of this storm. But for tonight, the story remains open-ended, a raw and honest glimpse into a meeting that went wrong and the emotions it unleashed.